Hey, so I'm at my desk. Sorry it's so close up. I packed my little stand thing that I usually put my phone on, so my YouTube videos will be getting even less professional. Alright, so I'm just going to read you this email from someone. I was at a hairdresser's today. She puts huge challenge in itself because it means deliberately sitting on my ass and spending money on unnecessary, in inverted commas, things. But part of my recovery commitment, I'm honouring my life by being honest and more exposed to threats. The hairdresser, she asked how long it had been since I'd had my old highlights done. Cue me saying I've been ill for a while, like maybe 12 years or more. She asked me what it was, and I said anorexia/orthorexia and chronic overactivity. And she whispered in my ear, oh my God, I've had bulimia since I was 13, but nobody talks about these things, do they? She is like me in that she can't get help on due to medical stuff or medical people not being helpful, I think is what she's saying. She went to A&E after getting severe reflux and struggling to breathe following a binge purge one night. The nurse told her that she should be ashamed and would be seen after more important cases because the nurse had no patience for this type of thing. That noise in the background is the cats. Anyway, so this person's just saying she would like to add it to the catalogue that I seem to have going of how the system isn't always serving the patients. And I think that these stories are really important because that just beautifully highlights how, that's just one nurse, right? But that just beautifully highlights how that one nurse doesn't have a clue what bulimia is, how severe it is, and just treated that patient as if she was an inconvenience and as if she would just actually an irresponsible inconvenience, I guess. She just decided, I guess, to make herself throw up and sick, and now she's having all these problems and she's clogging up the waiting room. That's kind of what it feels like, I guess. And how do we actually create more awareness about this? And how do we educate people to understand that that's not the case at all? That eating disorders are a serious illness and they are not a choice, and that it takes a hell of a lot for a person with an eating disorder to go to the doctor. That's the crazy thing. I've never met a person with an eating disorder that was in and out of the doctor's clinic every time something happened. Most of us don't go, and we don't want to go. And then I can imagine that this poor person with bulimia, she buckles up the courage to go. She realizes she really needs to go. And she gets in there and she gets treated as if she's just inconvenienced the whole hospital. I doubt that person's going to go back to the doctor anytime soon. And that's why it gets dangerous. Because the next time that person has something serious happen, they're going to be very unlikely to go and seek help. And so I think that it's really difficult for people who are in recovery themselves to be advocates, especially if you're really quite sick. But I think that there comes a point in recovery where being an advocate actually really can help your recovery if you can do it in a way that doesn't detract from the work that you're doing. So if you think that that's something that could be helpful for you, then you could also help a lot of other people. But I do think that sharing stories is the way forward. And so if you have a story to share, then you can send that to me anonymously, or you can write it in the comments here. But the more stories we have, and I'm always happy to share things anonymously. I have a blog going out this next week, actually, which is all anonymous stories about how people have been mistreated in treatment. And I'm not afraid to share it because things absolutely have to change. And your story is really important.